right. I'm just conscious of time. So thank you so much, James, for taking the time out to speak and share kind of some most recent City Leap updates. Moving on from that, I'm going to introduce Paul Phare, who is going to talk about the Community Energy Propagator. It's here. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit late to the meeting. I was in another meeting. Yeah, so really just to talk about Ben and the consortium of community energy practitioners have been up to while the council and the bidders and the new partner have been working away in the background. So some of you might know this already. We've had meetings about it before, but we as those organisations that have been doing community energy in the city felt that what was really needed, what was missing from Bristol was access to development grants or development funding to take projects forward. There used to be the Urban Community Energy Fund. There used to be Rural Community Energy Fund. There used to be the Bristol Community Energy Fund. All these funds were what projects relied on really in order to get going. So we felt what was really needed from City Leap was a similar kind of support framework to allow communities to develop their own projects. So we put that proposal to the bidders, and yeah, they all listened to us during the tender process, and thankfully and gratefully we were listened to by the winning bidder, and they included our proposals. Amoresco included our proposals in their bid. So means is when the fund's launched, or when City Leap is launched in the new year, there will be a fund that's available for community groups to access grants that will help deliver, will help feasibility work and early stage development work during their investigations into projects in their community. This is also intended to tie in with work that Bristol Green Capital are doing as well. They've got public money to look at working with communities to do climate action plans. So the two will hopefully coordinate together. So the climate action plans will produce projects that the Community Energy Propagator Fund will be able to help them deliver. So, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I didn't really want to go too much more into it than that. I'm sure you've been hearing about City Leap all night. If anyone's got any specific questions about the Community Energy Propagator, take them.
Yeah, are there any questions following Paul's update?
I guess James mentioned funding would be available in Q1. Do you expect the propagator to be functioning in Q1?
Yeah, I mean, ideally it will be available as soon as City Leap is launched. That's the goal we're all working to. So if you've got projects out there, projects you've been thinking about, projects that are old that might need a bit of funds to get them going, then yeah, that's exactly what.
Thank you. Were there any other questions after that? I seem to see anything. Oh, I see a hand. Sorry, David. Apologies.
Yeah, what will the mechanism be, Paul? How if you've got a project, how do we access the community propagator? What's the route in?
Yeah, so we're working on that sort of detail now, but it'll be an application. There'll be an investment committee who will review the application. Ben is going to be providing assistance as well to to work through the application with any proposal. So when it lands at the investment committee, it should be in a format they're waiting to send, and it's up to the investment committee then to decide whether the project is going to be supported or not. Same typical process for most funds, really.
Thank you. I don't see any other hands raised. So I think we'll move on, but thank you both. Thank you, Paul, and to James, for those updates. I think that's quite helpful in terms of kind of what we're looking forward to in 2023 as everything kind of gets started and kicks off. So yeah, thank you very much for that. We're going to move on now to updates from the Ben team. I think we're starting off with Laura, that's going to be presenting our director's report. Hello.
Hello, I am here. I'll just stop camera. Sorry. I'll share screen a second. Screen 2. And there we go. Brilliant. Okie dokie. Hello, everybody. I'm going to give you a bit of a rundown of the director's report that will be available to download and view from our website. I'm just going to give you a bit of some highlights of the past financial year and what we've been up to, and some thanks as well. So you may remember that we tagged 2022 as the year of action, and we've aimed to practice as we preach as more events have become face-to-face and opportunities to engage with communities and other stakeholders have presented themselves. However, as you'll be aware, the cost of living crisis has been dramatically impacting those households and support services that are already at breaking point. You'll be hearing more about our Bristol Emergency Winter Fuel Fund from Aaron, which will be aiming to build on the success of the Emergency COVID Fund that we ran a year or so ago now, which was really successful, and it raised £20,000 for Bristolians. So we're hoping to have similar success, if not more, in this next round of funding. So listen out for that. In the past financial year, Ben has continued to build on a partnership approach in working with communities and delivering projects. One of Ben's biggest achievements this year has been in developing and delivering our energy help desks across the city, training community actors and engaging with hundreds of individuals as part of that activity in a variety of different locations around the city. Our very own coordinator, Rachel, has been recognised for this amazing work and is a finalist in the Community Energy England Awards. That has now been delayed until January time, I think. So please keep a lookout for that, because she's up as one of 2 people to be recognised with an award for that work. So amazing work, Rachel. Thank you so much. We have also partnered with Bristol City Council on the Warm Up Skill Up project, the University of Bristol with the Energy Wallet work, and Bristol Green Capital Partnership and Eastside Community Trust on their Community Climate Action project as well. We've also been attending schools, community events, and anything else that pops up where Ben can give some insight into community energy and energy saving advice. So we've been to pretty much every event that we could go to. And it's great that lots more events are becoming face-to-face as well. We were delighted to host our National Energy Transition Conference in June with Community Energy England. So hopefully most of you were able to join us there. This event was the first in the past 3 years, I think, with loads of inspiring speakers, really engaging workshops, and it just had a buzzing atmosphere of old acquaintances and lots of new connections that were happening as well. I definitely had a moment over lunch where it was quite intense because there were so many people walking around and chatting, and it just seemed like the perfect opportunity to get everybody back together again. So we're certainly hopeful to have that happen again in the future. The keynote speech from Darren Jones gave some insight into the government debate on community energy, although we all know how this has shifted in the past few months alone. So we're all kind of keeping abreast of that as it happens. And Ben, as always, will be sharing any updates on that as we can. Events like this energise those working in the sector, and also provide a vital space for others to be welcomed. So once again, we really hope to host this again in the future in the same way that we did. So we felt that it worked really well, and we hope that you did too. Ben was also fortunate enough to send some representatives to COP26 last November, and they had an inspiring week in Glasgow, meeting many fantastic organisations and individuals. However, we also saw how important it is for communities to work together for change, as it became apparent that policymakers aren't acting quick enough. We were also represented at the COP26 Global Day of Action for Climate Justice in the marches that happened then. And Dave also had the opportunity to meet with Greg Hands when he was the Minister of State for Climate Change, Clean Growth and Energy. So that role has changed now, obviously. But it was a really fortuitous opportunity, and that followed a meeting with Kwasi Kwarteng at COP26. I think if anybody knows Dave, he probably accosted Kwasi as he was walking through the exhibition space. So yeah, fantastic opportunity, and it meant that we were able to get our word up to central government, and along with representatives from Community Energy England as well. This year, the Ben team and directors have taken a part in diversity training to ensure that Ben and its activities are representative of all communities and can be truly inclusive in everything that we do. We will continue to enhance our actions in this space. At our core, Ben is a network, and we can make greater steps to a fairer, cleaner, affordable energy system for all if we work together and utilise each other's expertise. We will continue to create space for our members to collaborate and for Ben to support the work members are doing and imagining as well. And we're hoping to build on this with some opportunities for skill sharing, and we'll be in touch with members as we go along with the work on that we're developing. Finally, I want to shout out to our amazing team, Dave, Rachel and Aaron, and all the volunteers who tirelessly support the work that we do, including our fellow directors. Without everybody's time that gets put into this across the community energy space, we wouldn't be able to make the changes that we are. So thank you once again.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Oh, hear myself. No, okay. No, that was great. Thank you. And then moving on to Paul Chandler, who's going to be doing presenting the accounts, the money.
Oh, yeah, you say that is pretty. So hopefully the accounts were sent out to everyone in advance. So I'm not going to do a big long PowerPoint presentation, but just to follow on from what's been said, last year was a fantastic year for Ben. The year I'm talking about is our financial year from the 1st of July 2021 to the end of June 2022. Our turnover was a lot more than previously. So it was £108,000. The previous year had been 17,000, and the year before that 38. That 108 includes grants, but only grants that we've actually spent. So well done to the team. So it's grants and receipts from services, so actually charging out for providing services. So there's been a real step change in Ben, because the same number of staff, same overheads as the previous year, but a huge jump in turnover, which has led to a surplus of 51,000. Unfortunately, that surplus means that we need to pay some tax, but the good thing about the surplus means that we have a surplus, which is really good. Our assets have gone from £7,000. We were sort of just scraping by when a year and a half ago, cash flow is being looked at every month and it was really close. There's now 50, soon to be £60,000 in the bank. Having said that, the staff are working incredibly hard and we need more staff and that money will quickly get spent, but that's really strong position to be in and really good. So that's my brief summary. That surplus will be very helpful looking forward. I suspect Dave will talk about it, but there's projects we're looking at. Am I allowed to say it? Yeah, SIFT, for example, a grant funded project. And as projects get bigger, they will require cash flow, and cash flow will probably will become an issue again. I've speaking to bookkeepers to get in place for Ben, an external company doing bookkeeping, payroll, management accounts, so that the directors can be presented with a snapshot once a month, cash flow modelling. And given the size of our turnover, I think Ben does need to become VAT registered, at which point there'll be a requirement for quarterly VAT returns anyway. So I think we will need to up our game as we become bigger and more professional, but that's great because we can pay people to do that. And that's all from me, but well done to the staff team for bringing, for more than covering their wages and setting it up. It's a very exciting time with more projects that you're probably about to hear about next. So
yeah, that was perfect segue. I didn't have to say anything. Yeah, it's moving on to Dave. Just going to give a bit of a snapshot, I guess, of what the year ahead looks like, or what.
So yeah, as mentioned previously, there's lots of opportunity with City Leap, and lots of opportunity for the city to really lead the way. And as one of the messages I took to COP26 was that we can't wait for politicians to give us the answers and make the policy changes. We have to take action now and ourselves. I'm really proud of all of you for your commitment and dedication to taking action on climate change. And making sure it's a just energy transition. So stepping up to that ambition, that's one of the things I was doing at COP26, was demanding from Kwasi Kwarteng the funding that is talked about in the Energy White Paper about community energy. And I was asking for that money for all community energy across the whole country. I met Greg Hands. He's talked about the Shared Prosperity Fund that he's given Dan Norris, and I spoke to their team about using that funding for development finance. But that funding wasn't to be used for community energy. There was lots of other calls on that funding. They invited us to apply to the Green Recovery Fund, and I'm pleased to say that from being ambitious, we set out a target of to develop 10 turbines. With a development fund of 1.5 million, and the project's called SIFT, Sustainable Innovative Financial Foundations for Turbines, and that reaches right across the west of England, the combined authority area, and we've been working with communities across the region over the last 3-4 months to get in place sites that we believe we can bring forwards and turn into viable wind turbine sites. And that's a great opportunity for Ben and to scale as an organisation, but also an opportunity to really embed the community energy strategy across the region, because I believe firmly in what that document that we put together is the importance of what we're doing there. And really, I guess, about professionalising community energy and that opportunity to inspire young people and future generations in getting involved and taking action in the climate emergency. So giving them agency and giving people help to actually get through what's going to be challenging times ahead. But with determination, we can make real things happen. And I'm pleased to say, with the turbine in Lawrence Weston, which was a glint in our eyes back in 2016, is now coming to fruition next year. And I hope the next community energy conference we can host underneath that turbine in a gazebo and really celebrate what we've achieved over the last years and what we're going to achieve in the future. I'd just like to thank Rachel and Aaron and the whole board, really, just for really getting behind the wheel and really pushing forwards. There's so much more that Ben's going to be doing with all of the things that we mentioned this evening already, and there's too much to mention right now, but you'll be certainly hearing more of that and hearing more of your work in the early part of the new year. So look forward to hearing that. And I don't know if you want to say, if I haven't double checked the agenda, if Rachel's got something to say about where you're going next week or the week after next.
No, we're going to go to Aaron with the Winter Fuel Fund.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, yeah, Aaron's been working extremely hard. So, sorry.
Shall I go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. For anyone who doesn't know who I am, my name's Aaron James. I'm relatively new at Ben. I'm the support officer. I started in July. The people are great. You're all great. I've been working on a project called the Bristol Emergency Winter Fuel Fund. Some of you may remember last year, before I was here, we did the Bristol Emergency COVID Fund to give people sort of help with things during the coronavirus pandemic. That raised £20,000 because of very generous donations from across Bristol. I think probably at the time, the people behind it thought, well, that was a good thing that we did and didn't expect to do anything similar again, really. But obviously we're in an energy crisis now. So we've decided to sort of resurrect it and renose it. So it's called the Bristol Emergency Winter Fuel Fund. And we're hoping to raise 100 grand is the target. Who knows how much we'll get, but you know, good to be ambitious and stuff. So we're hoping to raise that, and that will all be going through trusted community partners: Ambition Lawrence Weston, Eastside Community Trust, Lockleys Neighbourhoods Trust, Heart of BS13, and Rework. They're covering all of Bristol between them. They're going to be distributing the money specifically for energy bills. So quite a specific remit and focus. We've managed to source £5,000 in external capital as basically labour costs. So obviously it costs, you know, time and money for these sort of community partners to distribute and administer this fund, make sure all of the recording is done properly, etc. So we managed to find some money to sort of pay for that. And the person who promised that money said if more than 5k was required, they would be willing to sort of provide more, basically. I don't want to say too much because this person wouldn't want that, but what you need to know here is that there's money to help the community partners actually do the work. We're just in the final stages of getting a physical poster ready. Local advertisers out of hand have offered lots of poster spaces across Bristol, which are worth thousands of pounds normally, for free. They said we just have to print the posters, that costs. So this person who's sort of helping the community partners with admin, he's also going halves on the posters. Ben is covering the other half, so that's 900 quid in total for 150 posters across Bristol. Clear Channel, you may have heard of Clear Channel. They do bus stop advertising. They're very kindly allowing us to have a message on lots of their bus stops in Bristol for 6 weeks. And that starts the week before Christmas all the way to the end of January. So you actually genuinely might see this thing around, which is cool. So do share, you know, it goes live on Thursday, so December the 1st, so soon now. So I've got a little bit of stuff to sort of finish, but do share it among your friends and family, both in terms of they need support, but also to give if they can. Do share it on your socials. I'm going to send around some promotional graphics I made. I need to tune them up slightly, put QR codes on, etc. But there's some promotional graphics more or less made. I can send those around, and if you want something pre-prepared to put on your Insta or Facebook, then it's ready already. But does anyone have any questions or? Great, fine.
Just an idea, maybe,
Oh,
Aaron.
yes.
I haven't actually mentioned this before, but just came to me as you were talking.
Mm.
You should think about going through schools as well, both for people who need and for people who can support. Schools will be a really good way of getting to people of all categories.
That's a good idea. To speak to that, Rosanna, this is exactly what Rosie at LNT said. She actually asked, could you draft sort of a template letter of information and support asking that we could sort of have as community partners. So when we approach places like local medical practices, community organizations, our local primary and secondary schools, that was actually the example she gave me when she asked for this. It would just be helpful to have something. So the community partners are aware that schools are sort of a prime target in terms of mostly people who need help, but also donors too, potentially. So I've drafted that template to help them. I need to now send that to them. I haven't actually done that yet. But you're absolutely right. Schools is a hotbed that we need to be tapping into. Yes.
Thank you, Aaron. Were there any other questions from anything anyone had mentioned earlier, from the director's report, from the accounts, from what David shared earlier, or from the Emergency Winter Fuel Fund? No questions. All right. That makes my job kind of easy. All right. So moving on to kind of one of the final agenda items for the evening, which is our kind of standing AGM business, and that includes a bit of updates and on changes that are happening within the board. So I just first wanted to say thank you to Faustina and Paul Phare, who are going to be stepping down as BEN directors. Their contributions over the years have been invaluable, and we very much kind of wish them the best on wherever they go next and what they do next. But yeah, we just wanted to say thank you very much to both of them. But we do have 3 existing directors who are standing for re-election, and they'll shortly have an opportunity to give a little talk about themselves, a little pitch. And then Rachel has shared in the chats the voting form, which could be used to vote for the directors that are re-standing. So is anyone keen to start first? Any of the 3 that are re-standing, which are, oh yeah, we've got a volunteer, very Robert.
Hi, thank you. I'm not going to tell you how passionate I am about community energy. I was vetted by a certain Mr. Tudgy when I started this BEN journey 3 years ago. That said, I have sought to represent the interests of BEN and its membership through some very challenging recent times. I've sought to support BEN, its membership, and those in need in the city by raising several £1,000s, in addition to the monies that have been raised by other BEN and its members' efforts. I've sought to use the experience of 2.5 decades of community-based low carbon project management and community engagement. And I would like to add, with an understanding of the business opportunities that are there for community involvement. I've also had experience of investing over £1 million in low carbon retrofit in the public sector. I would dearly love to continue to drive the strategic development of BEN and support its the work of its other directors and new directors yet to join us over the next year, and to that end to further develop our community energy offer. I have enjoyed and worked with some pride with my director team and BEN project workers who are the heart of BEN. Finally, I'd like to just continue to work to build effective partnerships with those key actors in the city, including Bristol City Council, its universities, and Bristol Green Capital Partnership. Currently, and with David Tudgy's support, I'm completing a project which is 5 shallow retrofit properties within the city. Learning a lot about that. I haven't got time really to tell you much more. With Rachel's support, I'm currently project managing a project called Keeping Warm This Winter and People Power project. And that's it.
Thank you, Robert. Laura, did you want to go next?
Hello, yeah, I'm happy to go next. So I've had the honor of supervising our incredible staff team for the past 2 years, and I'd love to be able to continue that for another 2 years or more, we'll see. Supporting BEN's activities and championing the inspiring work of all of our members has literally become a natural part of my personal and professional life. I'm often checking in on what the team are doing and also supporting as much as possible whenever I can. As an energy innovation consultant, I am thankful to work with a range of actors and different organisations, And I've utilised these connections and experience for the benefit of Ben and its members over the past couple of years, and I hope to continue to do that as well. I have a personal ambition to empower individuals and communities to enact change, and also support others to be able to enact change themselves as well, which I know is obviously a shared ambition within Ben. So I like to think that we're quite well aligned in that. And it's essential for us to continue to listening to people on the ground, and also accelerating the pace of change in community energy and what's happening. It seems like the people at the top that we often rely on aren't going to be making the change, so we need to be doing it on the ground for them and for everybody else. And I'm also keen to see us strengthen our relationships with our members. We have really good relationships with our members already, but there are certainly areas that we could be improving that and making that situation more mutually beneficial. So I'd be really keen to see us do that in the future, and also bring more opportunities for our members and their communities to thrive as well. So yeah, I feel I have the experience and passion to help lead Ben and its incredibly committed team and members as well, along with the fantastic director team that we already have. Thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you. And lastly, we've got Mark.
Just to check that you can hear me.
I can't hear you very well. Is that just me?
Okay.
No.
Can you hear me now?
It's very quiet.
Okay. One more thing.
Oh.
Be able to talk.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Ooh, a little
No.
bit of
Yeah, you're
feedback.
good, hang on. Okay. What about?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
sounds- yeah.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you, Aaron. It absolutely came to the rescue there. Brilliant. So yeah, coming third, there's going to be a little bit of repetition here, but I totally recognise where Ben is at the moment. It's in a strong place. It's growing. We have the most amazing staff team, and it's fantastic to be working with all the three of them, even if slightly overworked at times. And their commitments and inspiration to all of us on the board. I think I'm really keen to do what I can and committed to help enable them, a big part of our role. Also to be mindful of our member organisations and all the wonderful work they do, and enabling them as well. And really to just bring what I can from my paid role, from other career expenses I've had, experiences I've had over the last few decades, and also to remain vigilant about our responsibilities on our own sites as directors. Really enjoyed helping out with a focus on equalities, and really sharing commitment to the more robust processes come after that with an external provider. I enjoy the problem solving, providing connections, providing advice, and resolving specific elements of specific projects and support. So yeah, I feel like now is kind of Ben's time. It seems like the Leap gets us, Community Climate Action Project gets us, the council gets us, and lots of increasingly more and more partnerships and projects get Ben and what we're doing. So I'm really looking forward, if I'm re-elected, to going on to continue this, and hopefully more, time permitting, over the next 2 years, and help Ben to play its important unique role in Bristol becoming carbon neutral by 2020 and climate resilient. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, Laura, and Robert for that. Just a reminder, there's the voting form in the chat, and you can only vote if you're a voting member. So yeah, just a reminder that that's there. We just kind of, as a note, we will look to seek new directors in the new year, so please do kind of keep your eyes peeled for when that kind of recruitment activity starts up in the new year. But yes, just keep an eye, don't forget to vote if you're a voting member. And I don't think I've got anything else on this. Do we want to do count votes now, Rachel? Oh, should I do my closing remarks? Yep, okay, I can do that. All right.
Not the previous votes as well. So we'll do.
Okay. I'll do a little.
We'll send it out after the AGM.
Okay, apologies. So that brings us to the end of the AGM today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along and joining this evening. We're looking to arrange our next open meeting, potentially late January, early February, but keen to know kind of what topics our members would be interested in focusing on. So if anyone's keen to share at this moment in time, potentially, or we've got some ideas potentially as well. So one of the ideas is onshore wind. We've got community-led retrofit, or potentially a City Leap workshop. So if there are any thoughts around some of those topics that we've presented, any additional items that people would be interested in focusing on, please do share now if you've got any ideas. If not, that's okay. No.
So one other thing is about the membership. So we really need to discuss. We have been trying to expand the membership of BEN to individuals as well. And so I'd like to discuss ideas about how we can expand this. And I have been recently talking to some community groups who are within Bristol, like Westbury-on-Trym. And it is something that we should be doing more, because there are lots of communities who are interested in similar issues, but somehow not really engaged, and people in those groups are not even talking to each other as well. So how can we cross-pollinate and integrate all these communities better together?
Yeah, that's a very fair point. And a good idea. And then I saw Martin's suggestion around behavior change in education. I think that's definitely a really, really good idea as well. Are there any other points anyone wanted to add? Oh, there, it's got them noted down. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to stop rambling and dragging this on longer than it needs to go. Thank you again, everyone, for joining this evening. We'll be in touch with the results of the poll. Yeah, it was great to see you all this evening.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Paul, for all you're doing and all you have done, and
Yes.
and Paul Chandler for the accounts as well. Amazing work. Yeah, hopefully there'll be a chance
Great.
to see each other.
I am here.
Yeah, no, right. We should say, yeah, because you're going for a sabbatical, so we'll see you when you come back to Bristol, and look forward to catching up for drinks then, or if before. Yeah,
I'm having a pint in his
Yeah.
arm.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck with Ben.
thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
And thanks, Aisha, for sharing.
yeah,
Welcome.
Yeah, brilliant sharing. Bye for now. Well done, everyone.